Let's go. Let's roll. Is you ready? I'm about to take you there. I'm lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better brace yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger. I was born to run. I was built to last. I was made for speed, cause I was born fast. Born to run, born to ride. Keep on flying till my hands touch the sky. Born to be wild and free. Keep on going, yeah, there's no stopping me. I was born for this. I was born for this. Out the gate like a bucking bull. Got my horns up, I'm unstoppable. Got you spin around, it's a do-si-do. Gotta hold on tight like a rodeo. If you wanna get down, get yourself elevated up off the ground. Then come along with me to the nitty and the gritty of the country. I was cut from steel. I was built for grit. I was made to fly. Cause I was born for this, yeah.
Thanks for coming to Mountain Rendezvous. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dave Bennett. I founded this little soiree about 10 years ago. A little bit about myself. I am a Tread Lightly Master Tread Trainer. A couple of years ago, I had the good fortune to go to Minnesota and attend their course. We're very big on Tread Lightly. We're very big on educating and setting a positive example for those that are out doing this, that maybe they've been doing it a long time. And especially for those people that are new and for kids, for younger people. We, as the users, as the enthusiasts, we also have a responsibility in this, which is why I say closure is not the answer. There's somewhere in the middle where we can try to work together with those people that manage the resources to try to keep areas open. And the only way we keep these lands open and keep the gates from going up is if we tread lightly. All right? And that means basic things, packing out what we pack in. When I roll up to a campsite and this fire pit's full of trash, when I leave, I'm not going to leave it that way. It's being a good and decent human being and then expecting that. I demand that the people that roll with me, they travel with me, they come to my events, they go on trips with us or whatever. My expectation is that is the standard. People need to pack out what they pack in. We need to do a better job, because what that does for us is then when the holders of the resource, when gates are going up, we are standing in a position of strength as enthusiasts, because if we are all out there taking care of a place, we're giving them less reasons to need to lock it up. People need to get back to nature and start doing things right. So how do you do that right? Tread Lightly has this, I have a little cheat card here. The tread principles are the basic nuts and bolts that you want to teach people, that you want to expect from people. Each letter stands for something. Take a volunteer. What does traveling responsibly mean to you? Staying on the trail, right? Because when we start going around the obstacle, there's a mud hole. You'll be all right. It'll wash off, right? You see people starting to go around the mud hole, or there's a rock there or something, and then pretty soon, you guys have all seen trail networks where you get these offshoot trails, and then the next guy or gal that comes along, they think that's okay, so then it gets worse and it gets worse, and it's pretty soon nobody knows where the trail is. So traveling responsibly, not doing stuff that's going to hurt yourself or others. Road sodas. I'm very old, and I remember back in the day, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, Road sodas were a thing. We can all agree that's not traveling responsibly. If I'm under the influence, all right, if I'm distracted, all right, maybe if I'm going too fast on the trail, like there's lots of different ways that you could say that's irresponsible. I'm doing it for the gram, and all of a sudden, wham, right? And I'm off the trail and I'm in a tree. Now I'm broke down. Stuff happens. But less stuff is going to happen if you're in the moment. If you're living in the moment and you're not distracted and you're trying to do the right thing, you're more likely to be successful. So traveling responsibly, staying on the roads and trails, go over, not around obstacles because you're widening the trails. Cross streams at dedicated crossings. So respect, and this bleeds into their next talking point. Respecting the rights of others, all right? So when we're out on the trail, all right, I run into a fence, all right? There's a gate. How do you address that? What do gates mean? If I come up on the gate and it's closed, but that's a cattle gate, right? Barbed wire, there's a couple of sticks in it. You guys have seen the gates, all right? And I know I'm looking, I've got my maps and where I'm going, I'm crossing through this area. Am I going to leave the gate open? So leaving gates as you found them. How about yielding the right of way to those passing you or going uphill? They're coming up, I'm going down. It's no longer all about me, whatever I was doing. I need to stop and be courteous and allow them to come up the hill. The E of tread lightly. Educate yourself before you go. Who does research? I do copious research before I go on a trip. I want to know who owns the land, what's there. I've got different map sets. I got BLM maps. They show me all the neat squares of where their land and where the private land is. And like, you can't have too many maps, right? So educating yourself and doing research planned before your trips. Knowing how to operate your equipment safely. I can go out right now and buy a factory vehicle with factory 35s, right? Front and rear lockers, all the bells and whistles. All I got to do is sign for it because my credit's good, right? What could go wrong? Because those people are going to take that vehicle that's infinitely capable, all right? And they're going to run lockers where they shouldn't be running lockers. They're going to tear up the trail, all right? Things are going to happen. They might even get hurt because they may not know how to operate that vehicle. So I'm a big proponent of training and taking some time to spend a little bit of money on the most important tool that you own, which is your brain housing group, so that you learn how to operate all these bells and whistles, knowing how to recover a vehicle, winching, how to be safe. That stuff is important, and a lot of times they'll go to Overland Expo and you see them packing out all the stuff. They got carts, they got the Max Tracks, they got a Scottle, they bought a winch, they got all this stuff, and they get it all in the vehicle and they bolt it all together, and then they're bombing down the road not knowing how those lockers work, not knowing what a sway bar disconnect does or doesn't do. So the A in the tread principles, moving on, it talks about avoiding sensitive areas, like I just mentioned, Menachie Meadows, not picking up their waste. So when we talk about packing out what you pack in, all right, that's another one, all right? Surface shitters are bad people, I'll say it. So number one way, I'm a big fan of Thetfords. Thetford toilets, the little cassette, because you can go in a rest area, you can take it home, whatever, you can dump that cassette in a responsible manner. They're very clean, they're very sanitary. I like Thetfords a lot. The other form is wag bags. There's different versions of those, different brands going. Those are great because it goes into a bag. There's poop powder in there. And we know when you get to the next dumpster or whatever, it's perfectly legit to throw those in the trash. They're biodegradable. They're awesome. In some areas, packing it out may not be possible because in some places, even burying it is now illegal. Yeah. But if you can't, and back to your original point, you're going to bury it. You're gonna dig a cat hole and you're gonna bury it. Go down 2 feet. Take that little dollar bill deep scoop of dirt with your little trowel, just enough to cover up the paper. The next rainstorm, the next big wind or whatever, or the next animal that comes along, you're gonna be seeing it. It's gonna be on the surface. So dig it down 24 inches, take care of your business, and bury it that way. And then the last part, the D in tread lightly, the D for the tread principles. Do your part, all right, which is what I'm talking about right now. I'm doing my part to try to help to talk to people and try to encourage the socialization of this concept, and this is sort of a standard operating procedure for all of us. Model appropriate and responsible behavior. I'll tell you what, there is a leadership burden in this industry. And if I were to do something, right, there's a whole slew of people, whether it was a widget on my vehicle, you know what I'm talking, people copy you, they mimic, they see you doing something, they think it's okay. I'm not the tread lightly Nazi, and that's not what tread lightly is about. They're not about telling you you can't have fun. That's not what any of this is about, right? There will come a point in a trail where you have to cross water. We'll do it right. Tread lightly is not the fun police. Tread lightly is doing it right, doing it responsibly, getting out there and traveling off-road, trying to minimize your impact, right? So, geotagging.
Yep.
Geotagging. I stopped on social media for American Adventurist some time ago, and I get a lot of flack about this, but I'll stand by it here today. I stopped putting geotags, right? But there are places that get loved to death, and it's because somebody is doing their research via social media, and they'll follow that geotag. Alabama Hills is a great example. 10 years ago, that was virtually unknown. So I won't post the things that are obscure, but if it's, you know, if it's pretty obvious of what it is what it is. Like right now, we're at Camp Talkins. Everybody knows we're here. There's no secrets. There's no shame in our game. So our social media, we're tagging that, hey, we are at Camp Talkins, but it's private land. It is what it is. There's a resource here. But I just tried to not tag the obscure ones, if you will, if that makes sense. So that's the wrap up on Tread Lightly. Those are the tread principles. That's kind of the stuff that we all need to know moving forward. I think everyone here can agree that's just kind of the right way to conduct business. So please do me a favor. As you travel, you're out there with your families, you're out there with your friends, make sure that they're packing out what they pack in, leave it better than we found it, and let's do our part so that at least we're setting the right example for other people.
All right, guys, so that's the type of events that you're going to find when you come to these American Adventurist events. That was one of the ones that's probably one of the most important classes that you can take. And for those of you that weren't here, I'm going to post this on a YouTube that you guys can all go watch who are coming with me on the Mojave Trail trip that's next week. All very important stuff. A lot of it's common knowledge and common sense, but I had an old boss tell me once that common sense is not so common. So we're going to get some lunch going here, and then there's going to be another class of off-roading. So we'll catch up with you guys in a little bit.